Wales. From coastline to castles, majestic mountain tops to vast valleys.
That's where my family are from, don't get me started.
A country full of myths, legends,
Look what I got.
and laughter.
I'm here!
Oh, my Lord!
Join me, Michael Ball, as I receive a welcome in the hillside.
Don't even think about it. Look at this view, man.
Travelling across this incredible landscape. I'll be rediscovering my Welsh heritage.
It's a beautiful country, man. I've never felt more connected with the place. There is something about the Welsh giving a welcome.
Tasting the local cuisine.
Cheers.
And taking in the spectacular scenery. Embracing the culture.
That is the most fabulous auditorium.
And Celtic pride.
Calon Lan.
In this wonderful land of song.
There's something that makes you want to sing when you're up here. Marvellous. A lifetime's ambition is about to be achieved. Ah! Smashing history, it really is.
The final leg of my tour of wonderful Wales is in the mountainous north, full of stunning scenery, history, agriculture and royal connections. The largest national park in Wales is Snowdonia. With its epic mountain peaks, it's truly one of the most spectacular and extraordinary corners of Britain. And right on the edge of it, near the historic town of Bala, is my first stop. A mansion house that's attracted several impressive guests over the years.
And it's apparently absolutely beautiful. So they didn't put me up there.
Well, I'm not checking in, but I have arrived at the rather grand entrance to Palais Hall, where General Manager Debbie Capadonna is waiting to show me around.
Hello.
How are you, lovely?
I'm good, thank you, Michael. How are you?
Very, very well. This is beautiful.
It is pretty special, isn't it?
It is.
Actually, this place is so special, royal visitors have been keen to stay the night, including Queen Victoria herself.
She always wanted to come to North Wales,
Yeah.
so it actually took 10 years to plan.
And am I right in thinking that you still got the Queen Victoria suite where
We
she
absolutely
stayed?
have, yes. Would you like to go and see?
I'd love to have a look at that.
Lovely.
Queen Victoria's bed. Doesn't get better than that, does it? Any ghosts?
Not at all.
No.
Very friendly house. No,
Do you know,
not
you
at
can
all.
tell that's very cosy.
So the original
This was
tester
her bed?
Yes, it was her bed. It holds a good story, it really does. And the reason... Oh, right.
May I?
Absolutely.
I just can't help myself.
She slept that side. I want Queen Victoria's bed.
And one of the reasons why she did stay here, it was because it was the only room with fresh running water.
And as well as her bed, her bath still remains.
Oh, blimey! She'd have disappeared. It's possibly the most comfortable bath I've ever been in, seriously.
Right to the top, lots of bubbles.
Yeah.
It does take a while to fill up, that's
Yeah, I
the
bet
only
it
thing.
Hey, is that Queen Victoria's potty?
It certainly is.
She'd be thrilled.
Famous royals aren't the only well-known names to have graced these rooms. During the 1950s, Winston Churchill came here on shooting holidays.
This is the Churchill suite.
Yeah, it's a fair size bigger, isn't it?
This is a special occasion room, it really is. The antique table here is the original one. And, you know, there has been comments made that he'd like to do his landscape painting there.
Lovely. It's like a William Morris wallpaper.
Well
See?
spotted.
Yeah, I know my stuff. I know my stuff.
Very good.
Good guess, eh? Yeah. Queen Victoria, Winston Churchill, and now Michael Ball. What a fantastic start to my journey. This part of Wales is brimming with royal connections, and my next stop is certainly no exception. I'm heading for the Rhug estate, an organic farm with sustainability and quality produce at the heart of it. In fact, it's so good, it provides meat to the royal households. The 12,500 acres have been owned by the same family since 1637, and I'm lucky enough to be having a chauffeur-driven tractor tour with the main man himself, the 8th Baron and present Lord Newborough.
Oh, hello everyone. There's an extraordinary sense of calm in this place. These are really happy animals, aren't they?
Very important,
Yeah.
I think. If you can take the stress out of the production cycle and employing best animal welfare, you end up with the highest quality meat.
One of the Rhug estate's aims is to provide animals with a good life from the day they're born.
Oh, look at you. Hello.
These are about 3 days old.
3 days
Yes,
old.
Yeah. Oh, got your name on it.
Hello. No, you can't fly.
So everything on an organic farm has to be completely natural.
Yeah.
As soon as they're old enough, they go out into huts in the field.
Well, you can go back and join your
Yeah.
mates.
Off you go.
But not all animals at Rhug are ones you'd want to pet. In 2007, they introduced a less familiar animal to the green grass of Wales, bison.
What's the difference between farming bison and farming cattle?
Basically, if you try to milk a bison, you probably have more than you bargained for.
Really?
Yeah. We have to register them as a wild animal in this country. They can't be tamed. They do give out some warning signs.
Do they? What are they? I'll look out for them.
They'll stick their tail up.
Yeah.
And that means you've got to be out of the field quite quickly.
Okay.
One's just got to be respectful of them.
Remarkably, this is the only bison herd in the whole of Wales. Next, some animals of the more cuddly variety. It's lambing season, and as a result, we arrive just in time for a pretty incredible moment.
Oh, look at that.
Especially for you. We'll call that one Michael.
Please do. It's magical.
Their organic approach and high welfare standards meant that Rhug were granted a rare royal warrant in 2018.
And what meat do you supply to the royal household?
Turkeys, lamb, chickens, and a little bit of bison.
Do they like a bit of bison?
Yes,
Up
absolutely.
the palace.
It's a true field-to-plate operation here, and I can't possibly leave without trying the produce. Though having just seen little Michael born, I can't actually bring myself to try the lamb, so a bison burger it is.
That's delicious. And I've met his relative. Is it wrong to say that?
Coming up, I'm continuing the royal theme at one of Edward I's castles.
Hold on that way!
Oh, bloody hell.
And have a bit of a bumpy ride to one of the most majestic spots in Wales. I'm Michael Ball, and this week I'm exploring wonderful North Wales. And the next bit of my journey is taking me to my most northern point yet, Anglesey, the largest island in Wales, known for its beauty, its fertile land, and abundant sea life. It's separated from the mainland by a narrow stretch of water. The Menai Strait is home to bridges, offshore islands, and whirlpools. I'm heading out to sea on a rib ride with skipper Charles Harris to find out more.
So the plan is we're going to go under the Telford Bridge into the notorious Swellies.
The Swellies?
The area that Admiral Nelson referred to as one, if not the most treacherous areas in the world to navigate a boat through.
And we're going there?
We're going there. It's a bit we didn't tell you in the office.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Well, before we head for the danger zone, we're navigating our way towards two impressive bridges which link Anglesey to the mainland. The first stands above the water at 30 metres high, which enabled tall ships to pass underneath. Thomas Telford's Menai Suspension Bridge opened in 1826, creating a safe passage for politicians travelling from Ireland to London via these waters.
When it was built, it was the first suspension bridge of its kind in the world, the biggest suspension bridge in the world. Yeah.
This is what I'm noticing all over Wales, is the extraordinary feats of Victorian engineering.
Yes.
This water may be beautiful, but the tidal patch between the Menai's two bridges has a fierce reputation.
I see what you're saying about the swellies. You can see the rate that the tide's coming in.
Yes.
And the tide's coming in the other way as well.
Yes.
So they meet.
I know.
So a really dangerous little stretch of water.
It is. Most of the obstructions here are hidden under the surface with a very narrow navigable channel going between the rocks.
And this narrow, shallow channel is another reason that these phenomenal bridges were built in the first place. The second of which is the Britannia. Originally opened in 1850, this one was to carry rail traffic.
This was the first example in the world of the box girder, the hollow girder that made a structure several times stronger than a solid piece of metal. And with the success of this bridge, meant that it changed the whole world in engineering terms.
Wow.
It meant we could go on and build enormous ships, enormous buildings,
Yeah.
all started at the Britannia.
They were brilliant, weren't they?
They were mind-blowing.
Well, now that I've witnessed some engineering marvels and passed through a dangerous tidal stretch of water, I think it's time to find out how fast this boat can go. Luckily, just like me, Charles is a bit of a speed demon.
Woo! Love it!
Yeah, you didn't know I was a daredevil, did you?
I got soaked. Absolutely pinging soaked. I love it.
Next, I'm heading down the coast for the medieval wall town of Caernarfon. It's known for its mighty castle and regal history. Her Royal Highness was granted a key to this castle in 1953, so I'm assuming she can still come and go as she pleases. Luckily, I'm getting a chance to look inside these walls today too, with historian Sue Kirk.
This is obviously the most impressive structure.
Well, we're coming through the Sovereign's Entrance, as it's known. It's the largest, grandest town hall castle. It was the main residence of the lord of the castle. Or
So this is where he would have slept. This was the most secure
This
part.
was the idea, yes.
Yeah. How long did it take to build?
Well, over a period of about 40 years.
The castle was one of many built by Edward I, a brutal English king who wanted to strengthen his hold on Wales.
Edward built castles from Chester right round to Aberystwyth, a day's march apart. He gave land to his barons to build castles. He took over a number of Welsh castles and refurbed them, so that the whole of Snowdonia, the whole of what was ancient Gwynedd, was ring-fenced by these huge new forts.
Edward I ended hopes of Welsh independence in 1282, when he executed the last native Prince of Wales.
So is that the end of the Prince of Wales?
The end of the Welsh Princes of Wales,
Yeah.
for the time being. But by right of conquest, Edward takes the land and titles of the prince who has been defeated.
So he gives himself the title Prince of Wales?
Well, no, he doesn't. He kind of keeps that in his pocket, because part of the story here is that he arranged for his wife to come and give birth to his new son, and he will become the first English Prince of Wales. And from that point on, it's been the eldest son of the monarch that's taken that title.
And from then onwards?
From then onwards.
Edward I brazenly gave his 16-year-old English son the title of the Prince of Wales, and that title still remains today. It takes me all the way back to a moment in my childhood when a 7-year-old Michael Ball was huddled around the TV news.
One of my earliest memories growing up was the investiture of Prince Charles, and this is actually where it happened.
It is. July the 1st, 1969. It's a modern ceremony.
Yeah.
We've only ever had two here. So the first one was in 1911, and that was Edward, the one that abdicated.
Yes.
It's nothing like a royal ceremony, too.
To bring everyone
To
together.
bring everyone together.
It's so true.
It's very clever.
I can remember images of the town of Caernarfon getting ready and in later years welcoming Diana, the Princess of Wales. All of the castle's royal visitors greet the town from a specially built balcony.
This is the third version of this balcony.
Okay.
After the investiture inside, the monarch brings the new Prince of Wales to present him to the Welsh people. So in 1911, this is where it would have been George V who would have brought out Prince Edward. In 1969, the Queen brought Prince Charles out here.
I mean, it's a perfect spot, isn't it?
It's beautiful, isn't it?
It really is.
This castle is part of the 4 in North Wales built by Edward I that today makes up a UNESCO World Heritage Site, but this was the most expensive.
This castle cost at least £24,000 at the time. It represented about 2/3 of the king's personal income for a year.
So 2/3 of his income buying this, and he never saw it finished. He never came back and visited it.
He would never have seen it even half finished.
How extraordinary.
It is.
He was missing out. I think he'd have liked it.
You think so?
And next I'm heading for a group of mountains in the Snowdonia range called the Caernarfon, which make up some of the highest peaks in the country, and it's safe to say I've fallen in love with this wild landscape.
It's just stunning as we're driving over the brow of this hill, and the sun has come out from behind the clouds, and it's shining off the water of the lake down there. It's breathtaking.
Farming in this area goes back to the Stone Age, and agriculture is still very much at the heart of Snowdonia today. Gareth Wyn-Jones's family have been farming these mountains for generations. He allegedly has the best office in the world, but it's going to be a bumpy uphill ride to reach it.
Hold on now,
Oh, bloody hell.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Let's do it! Come on! Woo! Oh, wow. You will love it, mate, I did tell you. I think we have the best flag in the world.
Oh, God, this is bloody amazing. Oh.
My catchphrase is living the dream, mate.
Yeah.
And you can see why.
I'm pretty pleased to be sat on solid ground, and I don't think I've ever had a more scenic setting for a chat with a farmer.
Gareth, it's a hell of a ride up here, but my God, is it worth it?
Yeah.
This is one of the greatest views I've ever seen. How long have you been here?
I've been on the farm all my life. My family's been on our farm for 370 years.
Did it ever occur to you to do anything else other than work on the farm?
No, from a very young age, you know, following in my father's footsteps was just truly so lucky. You know, I get to grow all my own food, to feed my family. It's a pretty amazing way of life, but can be tough as well.
Gareth's long family history as part of this wild landscape means he has a unique knowledge of these parts.
So where we are now, this is the start of the Snowdonia National Park, is that right?
This is the Caernarfon. So it's a part of Snowdonia itself, but it's the biggest open range in England and Wales. So this area is 27,000 acres.
The Caernarfon mountain range is home to an ancient herd of indigenous wild ponies, and Gareth watches over them as head of the Caernarfon Pony Society.
They're a really important part of this, aren't they?
Yeah, very, very important part of living history. Not many people know about these Caernarfon ponies. 220 breeding mares left in the world, Michael.
Is that all?
That's all. And it's such a pleasure for me, you know, this time of year, because the foals are being born. And of course, survival of the fittest. A few will die here over the winter, and that is the circle of life.
I was about to say exactly
Isn't
that.
it?
I was almost about to sing it, if
Yeah.
I'm perfectly honest with you.
Well, what a place to sing it.
Actually, this is... I could get in. Come here, Jack.
Go on, Jack.
Again, yes! You could be like Simba, couldn't you, man?
You've got the ears for it.
I could chat with Gareth for hours, but the sun's setting, and I'm keen to get a closer look at these beautiful creatures before it gets dark.
There's a look to them, a similar look to the Dartmoor ponies that I knew when I was growing up.
Exactly, so it's a native breed.
Yeah.
And these go back to the Celtic times. These ponies would have been running up here when the Romans were crossing.
Are they fully wild?
Semi-feral. So we do manage them. They don't get any supplement food. They live off just what's on the ground here.
My family heritage is coal mining.
Yes.
Down in the Cynnon Valley and the Rhondda.
Yeah, yeah.
And these would have been the pit ponies.
They would have. And my great-grandfather would have sold these ponies down to them.
I bet he got a good price as well.
Well, he wasn't a silly man.
Look at that sunset.
Beautiful, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you for coming up.
Well, if that wasn't going to make me fall in love with North Wales, then nothing would. It's absolutely magical. And coming up, I'm off to Llandudno's famous Great Orme, heading deep underground to the world's largest prehistoric copper mine.
Hi-oh-ho!
Before returning to a favourite place of mine, Llangollen. I've returned to the land of my mothers, and I'm having a ball exploring the wonders of North Wales. Now, this area has long been known for its Victorian seaside spots. Known as the Queen of the Welsh resorts, the popular seaside town of Llandudno is a rich hive of history and memories. I'm meeting local VIP Judith Phillips on the longest pier in Wales.
Mrs. Llandudno, I should call you, really, shouldn't I?
Well, I don't know about that, but I am a freeman of Llandudno.
What does that entitle you to?
Well, you know, I can drive the Great Orme goat down the main street.
That's always handy.
Very, very handy. It's great fun.
When Lord Mostyn's architect started work on the resort, he invited families to come and provide for the new community. Judith's family were one of them.
As agent for the Mostyn estate at that time, approached my great-grandfather and asked if he would be interested in moving to Llandudno to start a market garden here, because obviously they were building hotels and guest houses and they needed fruit and vegetables. So great-grandfather did that.
This is the first time I've been to Llandudno, but I've been to a lot of the old Victorian seaside resorts around the country. I don't think I've seen a more beautiful condition here.
It's virtually unchanged. And that is because the Mostyn family still control what happens to a degree. Hotels can only be painted in a limited range of colours. There's no commercial activity allowed on the actual promenade itself. So there's Punch and Judy, donkey rides on the beach, all the traditional seaside activities that date back to that Victorian era.
It seems Llandudno has barely changed, and it's all the better for it. I'll certainly be back here, but I'm not leaving this area yet. I'm heading up the dramatic Great Orme above us. It's an ancient limestone peninsula, and its name is thought to originate from the Vikings who arrived on these shores, but I'm heading further back to the Bronze Age. At the top of the Great Orme, an incredible archaeological discovery was found just over 30 years ago. Copper mines, listed in the Guinness Book of Records as the largest known industrial site in the ancient world. The wealth extracted from these mines has since been compared to that of the pharaohs of Egypt. I'm meeting Nick Jowett to learn some more, and because it's such a tight squeeze, I've even turned into the cameraman.
Do I need to turn this round? Is it better to have the light on? OK, I'll keep twisting.
Yes, I am a multitasker.
These tunnels would have been veins of copper 3,500 years ago, and miners using stones from the local beaches, animal bones, bronze picks and chisels just basically hacked their way into the hillside. Very, very slow progress.
Yeah.
But, you know, what they were digging out was of such immense value to them. It obviously just made that effort worthwhile.
Valuable it may have been, but it certainly doesn't seem like fun work.
Interesting just looking up here when we see some of these tiny little tunnels. We think they were probably mined up by children, maybe 4 or 5 years old.
Seriously?
So they probably worked down here in family groups. They didn't necessarily just send children down into the mines.
A different form of homeschooling.
Yeah,
in those days.
Yeah.
4 or 5 years old down here.
Half of the population in the Bronze Age probably died by the time they were 30. So, you know, it would have to be young children, teenagers, and probably people in their 20s that were doing the mining here.
Was it very profitable for them?
Yeah, it must have been. Copper from this mine was traded as far away as Sweden. There are axes in Sweden, swords that have been found in Denmark, so well over 1,000 miles away from the origin at the mine here.
It's incredible to think of the sheer effort with such rudimentary tools such a long time ago.
How many years was this being mined for?
Most of the mining, we now believe, was done in a sort of fairly small window, probably about 200 years, between 3004 to 3600 years ago.
And as we reach this spectacular cavern, well, it's time for the all-important sound check.
Hi-oh-ho! No, you could do a good concert down here. It's not bad at all. I can honestly say this, I didn't think I would be interested in a Bronze Age copper mine. No. It's brilliant, it's fascinating, a real insight into the history of mankind.
It's almost unbelievable to think that until just over 30 years ago, this incredible discovery was hidden below our feet on the Great Orme. Well, sadly, I'm leaving Llandudno, but I'm off somewhere equally as spectacular, Llangollen. It's a beautiful riverside town steeped in history and culture, a small place that attracts an international audience for its annual music festival, which I've been lucky enough to perform at. Well, more about that later, but first I'm returning to a unique historical house, Plas Newydd, to meet Mel Jenkins, who's going to tell me more about a fascinating love story. In 1778, two upper-class ladies from Ireland, Sarah Ponsonby and Eleanor Butler, ran away together and started a home here in Wales.
They met at Miss Park's boarding school in Ireland, and they formed a really close friendship.
Was it a romantic friendship?
Initially, it was a teacher relationship, then perhaps sisterly, and then who knows?
Yeah.
They loved one another. They wanted to spend their lives together.
So how did they end up here in Llangollen?
They decided they would run away together.
Following two failed attempts to escape, including Sarah's family locking her away, the women were begrudgingly allowed to set up a home in Llangollen. They had fallen in love with Wales during their time on the run, and it seems when they found Plas Newydd, they saw the potential straight away.
It would have been a strange situation in those days for these two ladies to arrive, no men in sight, put down their roots here. Were they welcomed with open arms? Were people suspicious?
I haven't read anything that the local people didn't approve. I think it was accepted that they were intelligent ladies, a little extrovert perhaps.
Yeah.
Arriving at 23 and 39, they lived happily together here for half a century.
Get the kettle on, ladies. Oh, it's extraordinary walking in here because we're surrounded by these panels. And it's quite dark, isn't it?
It is.
And I see the hats up there.
Yeah, and they're the original pegs that the ladies would have hung their coats and hats on.
The carvings here are remarkable and come from sources much older than the house itself.
This is a medieval carving of a jester in a tree.
People would heard that they loved panelling.
Yes.
And that they would give them to them as gifts.
They said they've got the oak carving mania.
And it's preserved so magnificently.
Their many famous guests include the Duke of Wellington, who seemed to be a bit of a graffiti artist.
You've got the date going on there and you've got...
Yes, this was to remember when they had their party, their porch warming party.
Any excuse for a party, those girls.
Absolutely, yeah. and we've got EB and SP, and the Duke of Wellington carved 1814.
Himself?
He did.
Wow, the year before the Battle of Waterloo. Amazing. Let's go and look at the music room. So this was the creative hub, I suppose, of the house. And writers used to come here and visit them, didn't they?
Yes.
I know Wordsworth was one of them.
Shelley.
Shelley came here?
Shelley came. Unfortunately, Byron didn't, but apparently there was
he sent a
there was
note.
a letter. There was a letter, yes.
He sent a note. Sorry, girls, can't make it. Let me have a try of the piano. Oh!
I don't think you'd want to sing to that.
I think we'll get it tuned, don't you?
The ladies of Llangollen seem to have carved out for themselves a life that was against the norms of society at the time, which is a hard choice to make, but ultimately the only choice they could make if they wanted a happy life.
It's a real love story. It's a really positive and life-affirming one as well, isn't it?
And apparently there was so much laughter and singing and happiness here.
Yeah, which is absolutely evident in this place. I've fallen in love with it totally.
Coming up, I get to drive across the highest navigable aqueduct in the world.
It is quite a long way down, isn't it?
And finish my tour of wonderful Wales in epic song with Great Orme. I'm on the trip of a lifetime, spending weeks becoming reacquainted with my proud Welsh heritage. The final leg of my tour of Wales is in the beautiful north, and I'm heading out for a hike. Towering 1,000 feet above the Dee Valley and the bustling town of Llangollen, Castell Dinas Bran occupies one of Britain's most spectacular sites. It's a medieval castle on an Iron Age hill fort with links to King Arthur's Holy Grail.
Hiya, Nan.
Hi.
I'm going to be walking right up to the top with Nan Powell-Davies, a keen local rambler and minister.
So, Michael, croeso I Castell Dinas Bran. A very warm welcome to Dinas Bran.
Diolch yn fawr.
Oh, ardderchog, da iawn ti.
Yeah, no need to carry on. Genuinely, Nan, I can't wait to get up there.
Go on then, grab hold of Pero. Let's go.
I don't have to drag him, I hope.
It just keeps getting steeper.
You can do the talking.
Breather.
Thank goodness for Pero giving me a tow.
Come on then, Nan. Nearly there. I love the crow.
Yep.
What do we call him?
Bran in Welsh.
Right.
And of course, what's the name of this place?
Castell
Dinas.
Dinas
Bran.
Yeah, I'll get there.
Wow.
It is, isn't it?
It's breathtaking.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a blooming long way to walk up. You'd only come here for safety, wouldn't you? You've got a 360-degree view.
Yes. Very strategic, of course.
Yeah.
And, you know, this would have been built in the 13th century. First of all in wood and then rebuilt in stone. But
Don't tell me it burnt down.
Oh, well, how did you guess?
They all burn down, don't they?
The stone remains we see today date back to the occupation of the last Prince of Powys in the 1200s. But like many other places in Wales I've visited, it was only occupied by its native owners for a short time before succumbing to other forces, this time the Normans.
The Earl of Essex came in and took this place over, but it was burned to the ground. They didn't want to live here. And this has been ruins ever since that day.
They may be ruins, but now Nan and I have arrived, the hills are alive with the sound of music. The town below us is Llangollen, home of the International Music Festival. It was introduced after the Second World War as a way to heal wounds between nations. It's a unique and important event with over 300,000 performers. World-famous tenor Pavarotti credits winning the competition as a teenager as the inspiration behind launching his opera career.
My uncle used to come up from the valleys and he performed there. He was a beautiful, beautiful singer. One of the reasons why I started singing. And knowing his history and his love of the Eisteddfod, when they asked me to come and sing, it was one of the proudest moments I've had. And you could never get tired of looking at this view, could you?
Oh, not at all.
Thank you.
It's been wonderful.
I'm nearing the end of my journey in Wales, and a stone's throw from the hills here is another UNESCO heritage site. I seem to be collecting them. When you think of Wales, canals might not be the first thing that comes to mind, but one of the most impressive canal stretches in the UK is right here in North East Wales. It's one of the main things that attracted Yorkshireman Neil Griffiths to settle in the area. Yes, I'm on another boat, though technically we'd call this a narrow boat.
Well, this isn't the most stressful thing in the world, is it, Neil?
It's not. It's a nice, relaxing day today, isn't it? Yeah.
Today, around 15,000 boat users flock to this canal network. The Llangollen Canal was first proposed in 1791 to link 3 rivers, the Mersey, the Dee and the Severn, helping heavy industry nearby in North Wales and in England.
Where can we travel to from here? Where can we actually get to?
I would say probably Ripon up in Yorkshire, down to the River Thames, or down to Bristol. They're probably the 3 furthest points.
The River Thames?
The River Thames.
Well, I live near the River Thames, so I could go from here by boat.
By boat, yeah.
I may well be hitching a ride home. Coming to an end on my journey here in Wales, and it's always nice to finish on a high. I hadn't banked on it being quite so high, though.
We're about to get to the aqueduct. It's pretty special, isn't it?
It's very special, yeah. I mean, it's called the Stream in the Sky, so you just feel like you're drifting.
How high is it?
It's 126 feet high, 1,007 feet long.
OK.
The UNESCO heritage site, Pont Castle Aqueduct, is the tallest navigable aqueduct in the whole world, a masterpiece of engineering and an outstanding icon of the Industrial Revolution.
It's not very wide at all.
But I say, if you look to the right, you're looking down a sheer drop.
It's a surreal feeling, and I can't imagine I'll ever get this chance again, so I decide to be a bit cheeky.
Any chance I could drive?
Of course there is, yeah. No problem at all. What you try to do down here is just keep it like you've got it on that angle away.
And that's pushing that way?
Just push it that way, yeah. That's perfect. Just drift across at this speed for now.
Yeah, I'm liking this. I think you can call me Captain Ball, or maybe Admiral.
That is one of the most memorable views I've been privileged enough to see.
It's a wonderful view.
It is stunning.
As with the Menai suspension bridge, the engineering genius Thomas Telford was again the brains behind this magnificent structure built over 10 years.
It's a lovely way to travel.
Wow, another amazing moment ticked off the bucket list. My time in Wales is sadly nearly over. But what a journey, and what a country. The inspiration behind this whole trip is my wonderful Welsh mum, and I think it's time for a final check-in.
You're looking well, darling. You must have been having a lot of fresh air.
A lot of fresh air, more than I've had in a long, long time.
I can tell.
It's been a journey of a lifetime. Fantastic. And it's been a lifetime coming. That's how it feels. Do you know the best thing about having you as my mum? It's that you're Welsh. It is the best gift you could have given me. It makes me feel so proud, so connected with this place. What's that word, Mum, when you feel like you're drawn from Wales?
Hiraeth.
Hiraeth. I understand absolutely the meaning of Hiraeth. And, oh, thank you.
You're welcome, darling.
You've been there every step of the journey.
You'll repay me one of these days.
Love you.
See you soon. Bye, darling.
Bye.
To finish, well, I'm heading to the beautiful Grade 1 listed Erddig Hall. It seems fitting that my final performance in Wales is with a male voice choir, the wonderful Caernarfon Castle. Before we sing, time to catch up with one of its long-standing members, David Jones.
So, David, tell me about the history of the Vron.
Well, the Vron Choir is the oldest boy band in the world. It formed in 1947, and then it just went from there. It's a brotherhood in song. That's the best description, really.
Yeah, I think
we're there for each other all the time, always, you know.
And you're chart toppers.
I know. Yeah. Well, you know that. You were on our first
I was
CD.
on the first CD. I know, absolutely. We're going to sing a song now.
Yeah.
From Chess,
That's
the
right.
song Anthem.
Anthem.
And I was trying to think If you have Welsh connections,
It's
if
in
you
the
have
words, definitely.
Absolutely is.
You feel your chest coming out,
Yeah.
you know.
It's the most fitting way I can think of.
It's an honour for us,
end
Michael.
this. Oh.
Well, you play your cards right, you come on the next CD with us.
No madness, though their sad power may prevail, can possess, conquer my country's heart. They rise to fame. Me why I love her through war, death, and despair. She is the constant. We who don't care, and you wonder, will I leave her? But how?
Brand new next Friday at 8. Comedians Paul Merton and his wife Suki Webster embrace the country's booming motorhoming craze in a new series starting out in Canterbury. Next tonight we discover what lies beneath Manhattan in brand new draining New York.